Ever since Minecraft's release in 2009, there have been more versions discontinued than versions still available. I've talked a little before about how Mojang drops versions of Minecraft like Google drops software, and while it's funny to bully Mojang for managing their software like morons, it's equally sad that they care so little about you, the consumer, and how you like to play their game. Now, I'm not here to whine and complain about Bedrock or anything like that. While I hate Bedrock for a multitude of reasons, that's not what I want to tell you about today. Today, I want to tell you about the only version of Minecraft that is 100% completely lost with barely any trace of it online, aside from old articles talking about its announcement. So what is this version? Well, it all starts back on August 16th of 2011 when Minecraft Pocket Edition first launched on the Google Play Store exclusively for the Sony Xperia Play Android phone. It was obviously really basic at the start, but this unknowingly started what every version of Minecraft would eventually evolve into: Minecraft Bedrock Edition. 2 months later, on October 7th, compatibility was extended to all Android devices. Then, after another month, Minecraft PE was released for iOS. So, for about a year, the majority of the smartphone and tablet market had access to the game. But then on September 13th of 2012, Minecraft PE was made available on the Amazon App Store, adding Amazon's Fire OS to the list of compatible operating systems. At this point, all bases are covered. Minecraft was now available on what was quickly becoming the entire mobile phone industry. But why stop there? On April 12th of 2014, Amazon released the first generation of Fire TV devices, so naturally, yeah. Fire OS was already just a modified version of Android, so making the game run on it required almost no effort. The Fire TV's operating system was, and still is, just a modified version of Fire OS, so in the same vein, it was a no-brainer. Fire OS and the modified version of it that runs on Fire TV are so similar to Android, in fact, that they both use .apk files to install applications just like Android. While the Fire TV proudly ran Pocket Edition, a few months later on December 10th, Pocket Edition made its way onto the Microsoft Store and became available for Windows Mobile. Yes, thank God. Now the Windows Mobile users could play Minecraft. Both of them. Windows Mobile, which was Windows Mobile 8.1 at the time, obviously was built off of Windows 8. Given that, you might expect the app file type to be similar to Windows, like how Fire OS and Android both use .apks. Maybe Windows Mobile uses .exe files or MSI? Well, no. It uses the XAP file type. Yeah, go figure that one out. The Fire TV continued to be a breeding ground for shitty mobile games on TVs. That was until December 19th of 2016 when Minecraft PE support was cut from the Fire TV, and in its place was Minecraft Fire TV Edition. What was it? Well, it was just Minecraft Pocket Edition, but called Minecraft Fire TV Edition. Almost nothing else changed. Besides that, the price increased from $6.99 and it was a separate app for Minecraft Pocket Edition. Nice. It stood as a great example of Mojang giving a big fuck you to the community, but at the same time gave TV boxes a bigger sense of importance, differentiating them from mobile operating systems. Previous owners of Pocket Edition for Fire TV could update to this new version for free, but still made no fucking sense whatsoever given the fact that the only change was this little number here. But on that same day that Minecraft Fire TV Edition came out, another TV box saw its own version, and for the first time ever. A TV box that came out over 7 years before the Fire TV and has been under constant development since its release. A TV box developed by the most valuable company in the world. On December 19th, 2016, alongside Fire TV Edition, Mojang announced and released Minecraft Apple TV Edition. Minecraft Apple TV Edition was essentially the same thing as Minecraft Fire TV Edition, a repaint of the mobile equivalent. But was Minecraft Apple TV Edition a port of Pocket Edition for iOS like Fire TV was a port of Pocket Edition for Android? Well, pretty much, yeah. Before I go into the technicals of it, it's worth mentioning that Minecraft Apple TV Edition was actually first mentioned by Tim Cook at the October 2016 MacBook event.
It's going to be really fun.
He barely gave a fuck, and to most of the people in the audience, it probably just seemed like a nice reason to buy more Apple stock. But it wasn't actually acknowledged by Mojang until its release on December 19th, when one of Minecraft's official blog writers, Owen Jones, reported that, "We're on Apple's magical black box." How great, keeping it tasteful. Anyway, Apple TVs run tvOS. The first generation of Apple TV back in 2007 ran the first release of tvOS, which was built off of macOS. This thing is a fat fuck. It wasn't until the second generation in 2010 that Apple rewrote tvOS and based it off of iOS, and it's been that way ever since. So similarly to how Fire TV received its port from Android, so did Apple TV receive its port from iOS. And just like how Fire TV uses the same app file type as Android, so does Apple TV use the same app file type as iOS. And while on the topic of operating systems, it's worth noting that while both the Fire TV and Apple TV run on operating systems based off of mobile operating systems, both of those mobile operating systems were based on computer operating systems. And if you want to go even a step further, both of those operating systems were based on Unix. So it's like a fucked up cat-dog-daisy chain of copying homework. Anyway, plenty of outlets covered the news and reported it, but that was it. Nobody actually fucking played it. In all my research, I could only find 2 users who have ever uploaded gameplay of this version. Nobody gave a shit about it. And although nobody gave a shit about it, it is the only documented instance of an Apple TV application receiving a physical release. Yes, that's right, a physical fucking release. The Nimbus Minecraft Apple TV controller bundle. This package is almost completely undocumented online as of the making of this video. In my research, there is one unboxing video of it and only a few news outlets that covered it, Nimbus's official website being one of them. The bundle was only released for a limited time and was exclusive to Apple stores. It cost $39.95 and included the officially licensed Nimbus controller and a download code for Minecraft Apple TV Edition. The game on its own cost $19.99, just like the Fire TV Edition, so for an extra $20 you get a controller, which you needed to play it anyways. You weren't going to play with the Apple TV remote. Since this was a limited release, these bundles are extremely rare and typically only 1 or 2 show up on eBay every couple of years. I happen to have this one here, but I also have a new unopened one as it came in the Apple stores. You have to wonder if this was an attempt by all 3 companies to actually get someone to buy this version, since this bundle came out the next year in 2017. I mean, no one played this thing. It was almost pathetic. And given that, the fact that it received a physical release like this is the most baffling thing on the fucking planet. I mean, it's like a horse with a broken leg, but instead of just shooting it, you keep feeding it. Yeah, well, it didn't take too much longer before Mojang emptied a magazine into this horse's head. On September 24th of 2018, Mojang finally pulled the plug on what is probably the biggest and most unsuccessful failure in Minecraft's history. And you know what? Nobody fucking cared. No one noticed because nobody played it. And I mean that. It wasn't until weeks later that outlets began to report its demise because literally no one cared or noticed. It was like one day someone turned it on just for the hell of it and saw the end of support message and was like, oh shit, well that sucks. And that's why we know about it. It died just before the Better Together update and was the last version of Bedrock to have the Edition name in its title. It lasted a lovely 92 weeks, making it the 3rd shortest lived version of Minecraft. It was always somewhat of a brother-sister app to the Fire TV Edition, but of course that too went the way of the shitter, dying in June of 2021. Rest in piss. If you're familiar with Apple's ecosystem, you'll know that it's extremely enclosed and always checks to make sure you're not doing anything Apple doesn't want you to do. Android is the opposite. Any APK you can find online, it's all yours to install and use, viruses and all. Of course, it all comes down to preference, but Apple's focus on making a secure operating system inadvertently fucks over the preservation of digital media, especially niche digital media like Apple TV applications. In a day and age where what you buy isn't actually yours, media preservation is more important than ever. Apple is well known for their secure operating systems. Most of the time. And jailbreaking becomes harder and harder with every generation, especially when the latest generation of Apple TVs doesn't even have any USB ports on it. You're not going to have an easy time ripping app packages from an HDMI port. For every person that tries to jailbreak an Apple device, there are 30 Apple employees working tirelessly to kill them. Extracting APK files from a Fire TV, on the other hand, is stupidly easy. Literally as easy as installing free file explorers from the App Store and copying the APK to an SD card. And honestly, forget the SD card. You can just upload it to a cloud service or transfer it to your phone over Wi-Fi. IPA extraction on tvOS, on the other hand, is a series of jumping through hoops and crossing fingers and running Xcode. It's so undocumented, you might as well guess. And when a company barely likes you changing the RAM on your computer, you can imagine how little fucks they give about you browsing files on their TV box. Not that I like the Fire TV, by the way. I fucking hate Amazon and their Fire products. That sentence sounds like an oxymoron. The only cool Amazon product was the Fire Phone with its dynamic perspective that created a 3D illusion with its interface. But it wasn't that cool though. Minecraft was also available for this thing, by the way. I just want to be very clear that this is not an evaluation of which TV box is better, but rather an opportunity to bully these tech giants and the dumb shit they do. And going back to the current Apple TV's lack of USB, it really says something when the best tutorial right now on jailbreaking this thing is an iffy Reddit tutorial with mixed results, and requires you to have some kind of recent Mac device. And if you don't have one, the very bottom of the barrel is going to set you back at least $500. And that's only if you lie and buy from their education store where everything is $100 cheaper. And they don't actually check if you go to school, by the way. You can just buy from it whenever to get $100 off. You gotta love it. Because of the lack of interest in Apple TV games and the lack of people who care to deal with all this hoop jumping bullshit, Minecraft Apple TV Edition is lost media, and is the only version of Minecraft that is 100% unplayable and unpreserved today. Even Fire TV Edition, which still very few people cared about, is preserved, and it was actually preserved by yours truly. It was extremely easy to extract from my Fire TV, and even easier to install, but sadly, it's unplayable unless you bought it when it was available. I'm no expert when it comes to Fire TV sideloading, but I'm willing to bet that this isn't the hardest thing to bypass. There's gotta be some egghead out there willing to figure this out. and maybe that egghead is watching right now. Minecraft Nintendo Switch Edition. This version was released for the Switch on May 17th of 2017. It was never released physically and was wiped from the eShop on June 21st of 2018 and replaced with Bedrock Edition, which has had a physical release. Even this version, which is the shortest lived version of Minecraft ever, is preserved in its original NSP file type, and if you mod your Switch or boot up Yuzu, you can play it today. Other odd versions like PE Lite and PE Demo are both preserved. Windows Mobile 8.1 and Windows Mobile 10, both preserved. Wii U Edition, 3DS Edition, and all the respective DLCs, completely preserved. Pi Edition, 4K, even Gear VR Edition has almost every single release preserved. All the other weird versions of Minecraft are safe and sound on the Internet Archive, but as far as Apple TV Edition goes, even if it is found, I'm sure getting it to run on a device without a license for it would be like programming a space launch with your dick while high and upside down. It's probably very difficult. But regardless, it's important to have these versions preserved, so maybe one day, by the grace of God, some nerd can figure out how to launch it without the ghost of Steve Jobs killing his family. So with that, I'd like to say, if you own an Apple TV with Minecraft Apple TV Edition on it, please contact me. Help preserve the only missing piece of Minecraft's history. Don't let this version be lost in obscurity. If you know how to sideload Fire TV apps and bypass this warning, also contact me. But most importantly, help preserve Apple TV Edition. Anything you can do to make this 6-year-long search come to an end, please help me. Help me fucking end this. Until then, one of the Apple TV's rarest apps will remain lost media, guarded by the spirit of Steve Jobs. I'm Bearman, and I've been wasting your time. Thanks for watching. Wait a minute. There it is. Holy shit. By some 1 in a billion coincidence, during the making of this video, someone is claiming to have uploaded the IPA file. But is it real? There has never before been any IPA file online claiming to be Minecraft Apple TV Edition. The only reason I found this is because of Yandex. If you're unfamiliar with Yandex, it's a Russian internet browser and one of the only browsers to not be filtered by the effects of copyright. In layman's terms, it's the best browser for finding copyrighted material since none of them get taken down. On a website called iOS Gods, a thread was started on March 24th titled Minecraft Apple TV Edition, started by user DXCool223. It's a bit confusing. The user never mentions the Apple TV in the description and keeps referring to the file as a mod. There's instructions on how to install, but the supposed link to download the IPA file is locked behind making an account. He credits this user here as being the one who originally supplied the IPA file. It's unclear whether this is their website handle or something else, but a quick Google search leads you to a Twitter user of the same name. Visiting his page reveals a pinned tweet linking a Google Drive file, which once downloaded reveals that no, this is not an IPA file, but instead a TIPA file. The iOS Gods thread had a back and forth with a commenter which suggested that the poster was able to install and run it, but I need to actually know for myself, so here we are. I'm now in possession of what is apparently a Minecraft Apple TV Edition IPA, but that's only half the battle. The next step is installing and running this thing. Good God. So before I continue, I'd just like to say this. I have very little faith that I can get this thing to run. From what I know so far, Apple TV jailbreaking is a nightmare. It's very unclear as to what can and cannot be done, so let me see what's going on in the Apple TV scene. So here's the deal. Installing IPA files onto an Apple TV is not terribly difficult at all. If you have a Mac, it really just comes down to Xcode and sideloading. With these two things, you're looking good. If you're unfamiliar with Xcode, think of it as macOS's equivalent to Visual Studio. Xcode originally launched in 2003 and has changed drastically as Apple's product range has expanded. The thing about Xcode is, it's meant for you to develop for Apple. So if you want to develop an app for iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Mac, Vision Pro, etc., and yes, of course, Apple TV. This is what you need. So by linking your Apple TV to your Mac via Xcode, you remotely install and test programs you write for your Apple TV. And of course, all those programs are compiled into the IPA format. When installed onto an Apple TV, the app will only last for 7 days though, and then it needs to be reinstalled. It just wouldn't be Apple without some stupid shit like that. Now let's talk about the file I now have. A TIPA file. What the fuck is that? Well, the TIPA format is just an IPA that can be airdropped. From what I could find, there is no difference between the IPA and TIPA format, but every time someone says that, another person disagrees. So apparently it's just as simple as changing the file extension to IPA. Well, no, it's not. In my experience, that doesn't work. An IPA file and TIPA file are somehow different. So how do you install a TIPA file? Well, this is where shit gets stupid. The TIPA format was made specifically for an app called TrollStore. Essentially, it's a modified IPA that can only be installed through their program. The only difference is that when you install an app through TrollStore, the app lasts forever on the Apple TV and doesn't disable after 7 days like in Xcode. Okay, well, just get a TrollStore IPA and install it to your Apple TV through Xcode, right? No. TrollStore can only be downloaded on Apple TVs running tvOS 14 through 16.6.1, or version 16.7 RC, or 17.0. What the fuck? Okay, well, the latest version of tvOS is 17.4, so all you gotta do now is get an older version of tvOS, which comes in the IPSW file format for some fuck-all reason, by the way, and manually do a custom install by holding the left option key down and then clicking Restore Apple TV in the Finder. Then you can choose the tvOS version you want, and then bam, you can install TrollStore. All is well, right? No. No, it's not. You can't downgrade your OS. This is such a fucking nightmare. There are only 3 versions of tvOS that are known to be installable successfully: 13.4.8, 10.2.2, and whatever the most recent version is. And of course, just as Tim Cook has orchestrated, none of these versions fall within the supported TrollStore lines. So let me just put into perspective how much of a nightmare this is. To install an IPA file on an Apple TV, you have to connect your Apple TV to a Mac, boot up Xcode, sign in, and follow a bunch of steps to make the app openable. Once you have it installed, it only works for 7 days and then needs to be reinstalled. If you have a TIPA file, you can't just change it to an IPA file and install it. So you have to install TrollStore. To install TrollStore, you have to have an Apple TV with a specific operating system. To install an older operating system, you just can't, and the ones you can aren't compatible with TrollStore. So at this point, would it be reasonable to give up? Absolutely fucking not. I'm no bitch. But how do you get an Apple TV with the right operating system? Well, there's 2 ways you can do this. You can either A, have one, or B, find one. I don't have one. Boo-hoo. What's next? Well, as far as finding one goes, most people don't list their OS version on eBay. And even if they might have a usable OS version, most sellers update them and wipe them before they ship. I've heard that the next best thing to do is to walk into a Best Buy and buy one, hoping that when you get it home and set it up, it won't have the latest firmware installed. But that's just another crapshoot. You can't just go around buying Apple TVs and returning them when they don't have the right OS. So, what is there to do? Well, I think it's time to seize the source. From what I can tell snooping around Twitter, this user here is responsible for uploading this file, apparently having snagged it back in 2018 just before it was yanked from the App Store. He also goes by Jeff. I've asked him if he has the original IPA file, and he told me he'll try to see if he can get it somehow. But as of right now, several days after this Twitter exchange, Jeff has not managed to get the IPA file. So, what should I do? I need some way to confirm that this is in fact Minecraft Apple TV Edition, so after days of research and botched installation attempts, I think I might have finally found my one and only hope to get this file to install. So after all this time, all this turmoil, and all this stupid fucking bullshit, here it is, installed via TrollStore on an Apple TV running tvOS 16.5. And will it open? Yes. Yes, it will. It'll open. This is Minecraft, Apple TV Edition, the only version of Minecraft that has been completely lost since it was delisted, up until now. Developed by Mojang, licensed by Apple, and killed by Microsoft. Here is Minecraft Apple TV Edition in all its shittiness. IPAs as a file type have to be one of the biggest anomalies in computer formatting. A file developed by a company worth over $3 trillion, the standard app format for the biggest technology ecosystem in the world, is also one of the rarest file extensions to ever be seen by commercial users. I've learned a lot about IPAs and the way Apple installs them throughout this venture, and on the way, I realized just how much Apple manages to suppress preservation despite being as big as they are. But against all odds, here we are. Sleep deprived, but we're definitely here. It's not every day that I get to complete the archive of every version of Minecraft ever, but the credit is due to all the amazing people out there who go out of their way to grab files and preserve them. Jeff helped me complete the hellish nightmare of a puzzle that I've been constantly trying to complete for the past 6 years, and I think it's incredible how much you learn about shit when you try to get something to work. I don't think there was a very big percentage of the population who were sitting on the edge of their seats shitting themselves while I uploaded my APK of Minecraft for Fire TV, and I'm sure the same goes for Apple TV Edition. But I sincerely hope that this video gets more people interested in the importance of not just preserving media, but also obscure things like this and the histories behind them. Because when you just sit and read about stuff like Minecraft Apple TV Edition and build an interest in it, it makes you want to futz around with your own Apple TV and learn about jailbreaking and how to install apps and what file types can be installed. It all around just leads to a very interesting and enriching rabbit hole that gives you a grander perspective on not only the development of technology and software, but also how the companies that make them severely ate shit and fucked it all up, which is kind of funny sometimes. That's why I do stuff like the Lost in Obscurity series. It's interesting to me to gather information that's scattered across the internet and put it all together in one video, creating somewhat of a detailed timeline that hasn't really been made yet. I love this shit. And stay tuned for a video delving into the gameplay of this version. That's on the way. I'm sure you'll never be able to guess what the gameplay is like. It's gonna blow your fucking mind. All in all, if you have an Apple TV, I hope you check this out, and more importantly, send a thanks Jeff's way. I hope, to some extent, we can all appreciate that Minecraft has finally been completely preserved, putting to rest this hunt for a single file that barely existed. And in the famous words of Steve Jobs, can anyone tell me what mobile me is supposed to do? Minecraft Apple TV Edition has been long lost, but now it's found, and I'm glad I could be part of putting this search to complete Minecraft's preservation to rest. Next time you're playing something obscure, look into preserving it. It might just disappear one day, and you might be the only person willing to document it. Always appreciate the obscure things in life. Until Tim Cook sends me a death threat, I'll continue to talk about Minecraft Apple TV Edition. I'm Bearman, and I've been wasting your time. Well, no, actually, I've been wasting my own time. Fuck you, and thank you for watching.
But what about the sex? Sitting down? 1 inch thick. 1 inch thick. 5.3 pounds.